At the beginning of the first video in this module, video number 1, I had given you this particular problem, and I had said some people might do the problem one way and other people might do the problem another way. I had said that in 6 plus 3 times 2, some people might end up doing 6 plus 3 first, get 9, and then 9 times 2 and get 18. Whereas some other people might do this problem and do the 3 times 2 first and get 6, and then add the 6 and get 12 for an answer. And what I had said to you is one of these two is correct. This is the correct answer. 12 is the correct answer. And when doing this, you do need to do the multiplication first. And there is a reason for this. Just like having rules when driving, for instance, everybody knows to stop at a red light when you come to it, there are rules that mathematicians have developed for solving a string of numbers and where you are adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, using square roots, exponents, parentheses, that sort of thing. Those rules are known as the "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally" rules. And let me talk about those rules and why they are so important. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally actually has 4 different levels. And when solving a mathematical equation, you need to follow these levels in the order. First of all is please. Please stands for parentheses. So if you have any parentheses, you always need to do that first when you have a problem. The excuse, the E, stands for exponents. So you always need to do exponents second. Now, because radicals or roots, we were talking about square roots in the very first video, are just the opposite of exponents, you also have to do the roots. So you have to do all the exponents and roots second. The third step is multiplication and division. So you always have to do the multiplication and division first. Now notice, multiplication and division are on the same level. They are on the third level. So you are going to do multiplication or division, whichever one comes first in the problem. Aunt Sally stands for addition, subtraction. So once again, I would do whatever comes first in the problem, either the addition or subtraction, as the fourth tier in this leveling system of "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally" or order of operations. So let me give you some examples of using order of operations in problems. Here I have 6 plus 8 times 4 equals. So the very first thing I have to do is I have to do the multiplication, because multiplication, division, comes before any addition, subtraction. So I am going to have 6 plus 32, so my final answer to this is 38. Here's another example. 20 divided by 2 times 5. In this particular problem, all I have is multiplication and division. And this is one area that many people tend to make a mistake on. Since all I have is multiplication and division, I am going to do it in order from left to right. So I am going to do the 20 divided by 2 first. 20 divided by 2 is 10. 10 times 5 gives me 50 for my answer. I cannot do the multiplication first, 2 times 5 giving me 10, and then 20 divided by that, 10 giving me 2, because I have to go in order from left to right if all I have is multiplication division in the problem. The same idea holds true for 8 subtract 3 plus 6. All I have is addition, subtraction in the problem. So what I am going to do is, first of all, I'm going to do the subtraction because it comes first. 8 subtract 3 is equal to 5, and then 5 plus 6 gives me 11 for my answer. Here's an example that has an exponent. It has 4 to the second power, and exponents are the second tier. So the very first thing I need to do is I need to do my exponent. 5 plus 4 squared is 16, so I have 16 divided by 2. Now I'm left with addition and division. So I'm going to do the division first. So now I have 5 plus 8. The final answer to this problem is 13. Here are two problems that sometimes people look at and think they are the same, but they're really not. And order of operations, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, will show that. In the very first one, I do have parentheses and an exponent. In the second one, I just have the exponents. So I have to do the parentheses first. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do what is inside that set of parentheses. 4 plus 3 is equal to 7. So I get 7 to the second power, which is equal to 49. In the second one, I have just exponents. So I have to do 4 squared. 4 squared is 16. I also have to do 3 squared. 3 squared is 9. And then 16 plus 9 gives me 25 for an answer. In all of my years of teaching order of operation problems, if I had to pick a problem that showed the most common mistake that people make, this would be an example of that type of mistake. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to pause this video, go through and do this problem, and see whether or not you are able to get the correct answer. Okay, hopefully you've gone through and done this particular problem. All I have in this particular problem is multiplication and division. Multiplication and division are on the same tier. So that tells me that I have to do the problem in order going from the left to the right. So what I'm going to do is 4 times 10 first. 4 times 10 is 40. So now I have 40 divided by 5 times 2. And then I have to do 40 divided by 5. 40 divided by 5 gives me 8. Then 8 times 2 gives me 16 for the answer. What many people mistakenly do with this problem, hopefully you did not do that with this problem, is many people take a look at this and say, well, I see the multiplication here and here. So I'm going to multiply first 40 divided by 10, and I am going to get 4 for an answer. That's not the correct answer because it's not following the please excuse my dear Aunt Sally rules. The only way that could work is if you had that with parentheses around the 4 times the 10 and the 5 times the 2. If you have that, then you would do it in that particular order because you would have to do the parentheses first. As I say, this is the most common mistake that I see when people are doing order of operation problems. Let me do one more problem here that has all 4 parts of please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. You can see that in this particular problem I do have some parentheses. So the very first thing I have to do is I have to solve what is inside the set parentheses. And inside that set parentheses I have subtraction and I also have multiplication. I have to do the multiplication part of this first. So the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to rewrite everything that I have here. And I'm going to solve that multiplication part, keeping it inside the set parentheses. But I have 28 subtract 18. Now, I still need to go through and solve what is inside this set of parentheses. So, rewriting again, I have 7 squared subtract 5 times 4 plus 10. Now, I have exponents. That's the next thing I need to do. I need to solve my exponent, 7 squared. 7 squared is equal to 49. So I have 49 subtract 5 times 4 plus 10. At this particular point, I have subtraction, multiplication, and addition. So I have to do the multiplication before I can do any addition or subtraction. So once again, I'm going to rewrite 49 subtract 5 times 4 is 20 plus 10. Now all I have left is addition and subtraction. If all I have left is addition and subtraction, I am just going to go in order from left to right. So 49 subtract 20 gives me 29, and then add the 10. So my final answer to this problem is 39. At the end of the first video in this module, I asked you to complete a quick check to gauge your understanding of the concepts in the video, and I would like you to do the same again. If you do well on the quick check, you may be ready to take the quiz on this module. There are also additional review problem worksheets or other websites that you can access after the quick check if you would like to continue to review the concepts. As always, you can also contact me directly for additional help if you would like. Thank you.